I'm Batman.
These videos are not for children. If you are a children, then piss off.
Hey there, I'm Infuso. And in my life, I've seen a lot of failures. And luckily for all of us, more so you than me, I guess, I've taken the liberty of documenting and filming all said failures. So join me today in the first ever episode of V's Home Movie Theater, where we're gonna take a look back at the greatest Batman movie that was never made. Yes, we're taking a look back at my short-lived Batman fan film. And most importantly, we're gonna watch what happens when a group of friends, with no budget, no costumes, no sets, no direction, and most importantly, no talent, get together and try to make a Batman movie. Now keep in mind I was about, I want to say 15, maybe 16 years old here. But even then, it's no excuse for my efforts or lack thereof. And since I'm the first to make fun of somebody else, then I'm gonna be the first person to make fun of myself. Followed, of course, by all you eager viewing, mean-spirited bullies with your hands hovering over your keyboards, ready to textually assault me. But alas, this is the internet, and that is how it works. I will be replacing select people's names with names from the random name generator I have, because we're just sharing stories here, we're not trying to destroy lives. And for those people whose names I'm actually using, it's okay because they've already ruined their own lives by staying associated with me for this long. But let's cut to the chase. What does a good Batman project need more than anything else, other than dead parents? A good cast. So now you may be wondering how a 15-year-old's casting process goes. Well, you know, when you're not at Kevin Spacey's house. I didn't exactly have a desk full of headshots to look over. I pretty much casted who I knew and who I could manage to convince that this was somehow a good idea. We wound up casting Dice, who may be better known as Mole Man Reigns from GTS Wrestling. And look at us, all these years later, and we're truly prospering. Dice was cast as the former Robin, Dick Grayson, who is now just taking on the role of Nightwing. Now, what was it that made him a good Nightwing, you might ask? Well, he knew karate, had long hair, and allegedly owned a Batman and Robin suit. And those were literally all his qualifications. He campaigned for the role, and in order to really leverage his way in, he told me about the Robin Halloween costume he owned. And I, of course, was sold. So now you may be wondering, V, where is this Robin costume? And you know what? All these years later, and I'm wondering it too. Because it never wound up being used in the video at all. There was also a little bit of an issue earlier on, as one of my friends, let's call him Floyd, found a binder of mine in which I was using to hold my notes for the movie. And one of the suggestions I was making was to have Dice play Alfred. Well, this caused some controversy, as our group decided that the role was too belittling to him and ratted me out as if I did something wrong. Never mind the fact that he would have been a more ass-kicking Alfred, but regardless, it led to an issue for a little bit. Let me tell you something about Dice. That guy is a character. But do you know what he's not? An actor. I'd give him a line and then he'd go, all right, yeah, I got it, man. Then the second we'd start recording, he'd start it off right, forget the middle, and then look off screen to me for reassurance. Then I'd give him the line again, and he'd be like, yeah, all right, I got it now. And he'd do the same exact thing all over again. There was this one scene where Dick visits Bruce, and the line was, I'm just coming to visit my roots. Dice flubbed that up so badly that still to this day, over a decade later, if we're hanging out, one of us will randomly go, My roots, is that it? My roots? I came to visit my roots, is that the line? I also made the creative decision of only referring to the character as Grayson, mainly because we were filming with a group of teenage boys, so there would be no real way of them referring to a character as Dick without somebody giggling or making a comment, and screwing up all our takes. And that's not even a joke, that's a precaution I seriously had to take. You know, I want to add to that a personal story with about somebody that we know. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bleep his name out in post, but...
Okay.
Hurt. Yeah, you know exactly what... Okay, so this guy that the two of us know used to openly, I don't know why, but he never liked the Joker character, would openly shit on him for some reason. He's just always like, I mean, I don't understand why you guys like that character. He's a freaking clown. He's stupid. He's, it was a different time, a less PC world. He's gay. I can only imagine he had some kind of clown phobia that we didn't know about. But anyway, he hated him. And then The Dark Knight came out. Mm-hmm. And he went to see it. And all of a sudden, that Joker was his favorite character. I'm not kidding. He was his favorite character. He started making videos on YouTube, which, I'm going to include them in this video. God. I'm going to include them. Or at least some of them, because he took some of them down. He started doing the makeup tutorials, not tutorials, but just showing off, him in the makeup. Yeah. And there was a trend. It wasn't just him. Everybody did it. By the way, he's somewhere buried in this giant group of people I'm showing you doing this exact thing. You'll never know which one it is, but it's him. But he's in here. He's here. The person we're talking about. So he starts doing these videos, and he's like, I was making a Batman movie at the time, which went terribly. And thankfully,
it's because I wasn't in it.
No, there was a lot of other reasons too.
Well,
but basically,
I could have made it better.
Maybe I'll put that up here sometime. The terrible Batman movie I tried to make. It was god awful, and it's great in the worst ways. Anyway, so he was like, "I want to be the Joker in your movie," and I said, "Well, I can't really do that because at the time I was like, I'm going to be the Joker in the movie." And then he's like, I think I would make a way better Joker than you. He goes like, if you told people that you were going to be the Joker, people would laugh at you. This is my favorite. I go, why would you make a good Joker? He goes, because I had the hair for it. And it's like, dude, the Joker isn't hair, bro. And then he started putting up these videos of him impersonating Heath Ledger, right? He sounds like everybody who ever tries to impersonate that role. He sounds like, well, why so serious? Like they do the nasal part of it, but they obviously can't do the voice. Yeah. And that's all he did, and it was mediocre at best. It's like how everyone has a Christopher Walken impression. Yeah. And he was just lobbying for this role in this unimportant thing that we were doing. And then he ended up trying to really impress me. So he did one where, I shit you not, he was basically lip syncing to scenes from The Dark Knight, and he didn't think anybody would notice. And then here's the thing, this video started getting a lot of views, and people started shitting all over him. He said impression, that's what he wrote in there, and he was trying to pass it off as him doing an impression. But everybody was like, that's not you. We could hear the music in the background, and the sound effects from the scenes, and other characters. It was just, it was awful. Yeah. Kurt would continue to tell anyone and everyone who would listen to him that he should be the Joker, until one of my friends stopped him and said, really, man, who gives a fuck? Just have fun. So of course in the end Kurt didn't get his way, but hey, neither did I. After writing out a full script that centered on the Joker as one of the central villains, I randomly decided against it. So sorry guys, but no Joker V. The footage I'm playing right now actually has nothing to do with the movie at hand. It was actually a skit that me and a couple friends filmed right after The Dark Knight came out. And it was only filmed because, well, mainly we were all bored. Why couldn't we have just done drugs like normal kids? So with no Joker, that meant it was time to bring in some other villains. Luckily I had a friend who just so happened to idolize Jim Carrey. So it wasn't too hard to talk him into the role of the Riddler. His sole reward would be that he'd get to utter his favorite Batman Forever quote,
riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
And he did not actually get to say that. As a matter of fact, he never even wore the custom Riddler costume that was made for him. It never got to that. Probably for the best. For him. No. Instead, he spent most of his screen time playing Grand Theft Auto. Menacingly! And let me say, this right here, this is what I look for in a Batman film.
Blackie, where's Pegorino? You don't need to shoot me, I'm just some old schmuck.
But hey, look, it's fine. We still did a really good job with this character development. As my cousin was at my house that weekend, loved Batman, and was happy to be a part of something Batman related. And for his sins, we implied that he was neglected at best and demonetizable at worst by his father, who's actually me just holding the camera and slowing down my voice.
Riddle me this. Riddle me that.
Man, you gotta love Windows Movie Maker, and I highly suggest that all you serious content creators out there, look into it if you want my kind of level of success. My cousin played the younger version of the Riddler because, well, he was blonde, and so was my friend. And that's it. As a matter of fact, I think the only reason Riddler even got a backstory was because I decided that my little cousin could totally be passed off as a younger version of my friend here. But no, he can't. These are two entirely different looking people.
Say I won't smack the shit out of you. Say it. Say it. I fucking dare you.
I've had a number of patients in the past who, like Tommy, work in manual labor, and that can be really
There you go.
a difficult job to have when you have a
He's in pain. Maybe not physically, but on some emotional level, that registered.
I'm torn up.
That was a betrayal.
And man, right from the start, you just know you're in for something. See, because the first time around, I didn't put the T in night, so I decided, oh, you know what will fix this? Let me put another title over it with the T that doesn't cover it exactly and will just look like a jumbled up mess. Obviously, a deep metaphor for the movie itself. Not to mention that some of these shots that I took, for one reason or another, couldn't be converted to my computer. They were just playable. So I used an unregistered hypercam to record as I was playing the clip. As you can see, that doesn't really work out so well because I didn't even think to crop the unregistered hypercam out of the shot. Actually, I don't think I even knew how to do that at the time. And it obviously lowers the quality. But hey, you know what? I think it's fitting, because the quality of the video should reflect the quality of the video maker. It's shit, and so was I. I had to talk another friend, Floyd, into the role of Mad Hatter. For his look, we put him in my graduation gown, because let's face it, I wasn't gonna ever be wearing that thing. And luckily, we already had a goofy hat that we usually used in stupid sketches we made. And yeah, it looked really dumb, but I can only imagine that my thought process at the time was, hey, I mean, a hat's a hat. I don't care that he looks like Perry Saturn attending choir practice. Get that man in front of the camera. He was actually a good sport about things, and had a few ideas of what he wanted to do with the character. I suggested he use an accent of some kind, and he instead decided, since he was in fact the Mad Hatter, that he would use a variety of different accents and switch it up every time I changed the camera angle.
So, my friend, you want to get paid more.
You so lady. You wanted to get more money, you say, huh? You want to know what happens when you ask for too much money from me, the Mad Hatter?
You know why I get to chop up the bodies, man? 'Cause I'm Elvis.
Bah!
Many years before Johnny Depp would do the exact same thing with the character also named the Mad Hatter. And look, I'm not saying that Tim Burton owes my friend here money, but if he doesn't start seeing royalty checks, I think the man may have a case. However, would quickly drop out of the project after finding out in certain continuities, the Mad Hatter is the Mad Hatter sometimes is sometimes written to be a Papa Echo Delta Oscar. I hope you got that. Even after I tried explaining to him that that's not what our version of the character would be, there was really no talking to him after that. And I guess I understand, but hashtag not my Mad Hatter. Hatter's scrawny bodyguard here was played by Sean, who decided he wanted to be Bane prior to his Venom injections, because he had just recently watched Batman and Robin. I told him that there wasn't any room for that inclusion, but he explained that he didn't want to become Bane. He just wanted to do an end credits reveal, which was also at a time that wasn't really popular. So obviously, as you can see, this cast was very ahead of its time. We didn't even finish the first 5 minutes of our fan film, and this kid was already sequel baiting. This kid was born to be in this business. Not to mention that this was only around the time that Iron Man was hitting theaters, and he'd yet to see it. The guy was clearly a visionary. To be fair, his decision to play pre-Bane and not Bane makes sense. We certainly didn't have a steroid budget, so it just really wasn't a possibility. We did, however, shoot additional footage of that tease, but it's gone. I don't think we'll see it again. Oh, and see this guy right here? That was actually Kurt, and he was going to be revealed to be Jason Todd. That reveal would come in a fight scene we actually filmed between he and Dice. But that footage is also missing. And plus, at some point in time, I must have changed my mind on that, because this is how his only scene ends.
Fuck you.
TCB, man.
But actually, upon rewatching, he did play Jason Todd, because here's his shoulder answering the door, and he's wearing the exact same thing he was in the other scene when he was Mad Hatter's thug. And this scene comes after he'd already died in the previous scene.
Great continuity!
Unless he goes to the Lazarus pit. Oh, I am so smart! For Batman, I chose my childhood best friend Paul, because he's actually who got me into Batman to begin with, or at the very least helped me become more knowledgeable on the subject. Out of all the times we worked together, believe it or not, this was the one and only thing he took very seriously, even asking me if he should dye his hair black for the part, only to eventually decide against it because he decided he wanted to be Val Kilmer Batman instead. That's a direct quote. And he was somebody who typically laughed through takes, but for this rinky-dink cringe fest, he was asking if he could go again. Unfortunately for all of us, and most importantly for Paul, he was snubbed out of an Oscar that year. What a cast of characters we were. The story itself was pretty non-existent. It just had things happening. Oh look, it's the Mad Hatter. Oh hey look, Dick is back in the mansion. Oh hey look, is that Val Kilmer? It just had things happening. So I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, I think I'm qualified to write a DC film. Total time we spent working on this movie? 3 days. Total runtime of said movie? 6 minutes. Amount of screen time Batman had?
0.0.
Is a Batman movie without Batman, or anything else you'd recognize from Batman. Well, quite frankly, it's the perfect 10. Since I was young, I always enjoyed creating. Granted, what I was creating wasn't always good. As a matter of fact, it almost never was. You do remember that cow I painted, right? If any of you would be interested in laughing at my former self while my current self cringes internally, then congratulations, you're in luck. I wanted to make this video first because this was the quickest one for me to make. I didn't really have to meet up with anybody to tell these stories or to get their version of events, mainly because for the most part I don't talk to any of these people anymore. But don't you worry, let me assure you this is just the tip of the iceberg. I have many more failures to come. A lot worse than this, actually. And a lot funnier. So if you enjoyed this, trust me, there's a reason to stick around.
I'm the Clown Prince of Crime, and that was the Prince of Personality, the Infuso. Or so he says. So if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too want to become a VTard, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow the man on Twitter, because it's not stalking if it's on the internet after all. Join the fun by joining the Discord. If for some strange reason you want to show support, and I don't know why you would, and if you have $1 to spare, head over to the SIJW's Patreon, where you can request videos, get exclusive content, and early access to scheduled videos. Or head to his PayPal, where you can buy the shirts. Oh, aren't those lovely? And just remember, if you're not tuning in, you're missing out. Yeah.